You're listening to Nice-ish, a podcast about reality TV and your opinions, with your hosts, Cindy and Grace. Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 37 of Nice-ish. I'm Cindy, and I'm here with my co-host, Grace.
Hi, Mom. How's it going?
It's going great. However, we have a windstorm currently happening.
Yeah, you can probably hear it.
And there's really nothing we can do about it. Most of the podcast was recorded a couple days ago. However, we wait till Sunday night to record Potomac. Mm-hmm. And we're having 60-mile-an-hour winds right now. And there is no place in the house we can go where you can't hear it.
Nope.
So try to ignore it. It's not the whole podcast. It's just this part and the Potomac part. And you might not even hear it all of the time. Just when we get like a particularly gustful gust.
Gustful gust. Okay. You're coining that term.
I'm not claiming it.
It's
no.
an official meteorology term for wind.
So, welcome the number 2 Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl fan. You're talking to the number 1 fan.
Oh my God, it was so exciting.
We won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we said that we were going to put in a clip about like last week, and we were...
My voice was gone.
Yeah, we were too busy hyped up and we forgot. So,
yes,
we're going to do it now.
It was a great game.
Oh my God, it was so good.
And usually people say games where there's a blowout are boring.
Yeah.
No, they're relaxing. When your team is up like 27-0 at halftime, then you can kind of relax.
Oh, yeah.
So
I agree.
I enjoyed every minute of it. It was so fantastic.
It was so good.
And then we watched the parade on Friday, all through downtown Philadelphia, all the buses.
They said there was like a million people there.
I wish we could have gone, but we're in upstate New York, so.
And I don't like people, so. The claustrophobia would be so intense, I feel like, just to be like wall-to-wall people and something like that.
I would have to agree. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
I would not like it, and no.
No. I mean, it's cool to be around, like, fans who are all just as hyped as you are, but then everybody's really hyped up, so.
When it's time to leave.
Yeah.
Like, where do you go?
Well, I know. It's like you can't just take public transit. They showed the line for that.
Yeah.
Hours.
Yeah. You would be better off walking.
100%. Yes. You'd be faster walking. Which, if that goes to show you how long that would take, then...
Exactly. So, our Dodgers won the World Series, and our Eagles won the Super Bowl.
And I won my fantasy football league, so that is the third. That's the trifecta there.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a good year.
It was a great year. Great year. I didn't play fantasy football this year. I dropped out. Mm-hmm. I was tired of playing with... I was the only girl in a group of boys who half of them were like not interested in playing, and I'd play people who like had people on their roster who were like literally on injured reserve. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. You guys are idiots. Yeah. Take this seriously.
Fuck all you people. Get out of here.
So I quit, but I'm glad you won. That was awesome.
Yeah, it really was. When they sang "We Are the Champions" at the parade, I felt that. I felt it was directed towards me.
It probably was.
Mm-hmm. Let's get into this week's episode of Beverly Hills. So we're going to focus right now on the girls in Augusta, and then we will come back to the 3 that are still in Beverly Hills. In this episode, we saw Erica redoing her house and Bo's talking to her daughter about having another baby. We're not going to focus on those, though, but just mentioning it.
Right.
So the episode starts in Augusta, Georgia, with Sutton, Kyle, and Garcelle. And Kyle comes in from running outside, and she sees Sutton's mom, Reba, in the kitchen, and they start talking. And I don't know how Kyle got her to open up to her.
I know.
Like, immediately. It was weird.
She doesn't to her daughter, but she does to Kyle. Yeah, I agree.
So basically the pull quote from that is that Reba says that she isn't a nurturer. And like, yeah, okay, we got that. We could feel that.
Well, at least she knows, I guess. That's the first step, admitting you have a problem.
Right. So then Kyle goes upstairs to get ready with Sutton for brunch. And Kyle says, her mom is so great. I'm like, what the hell, Kyle?
I know.
Was that not the weirdest thing?
Well, you know how strained Sutton's relationship is with her mom.
Yeah.
And how she doesn't feel loved and all of these things. And you're going to go and be like, your mom's so great.
I know. Like, you had one conversation with her. Are you for real?
Yeah.
Like, to say that was so weird to me.
And dumb.
Yeah. Because Sutton doesn't even feel that way. So
No.
it's like, whose side are you on, man?
I mean, I get you wanting to say nice things about somebody's parent. Mm-hmm. But when they're struggling, maybe just say, I had a nice conversation with your parent.
Well, right. Yeah, exactly. Because there's nothing wrong with that.
But she's so great. Like, it's a bit of an oversell, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Sutton was shocked when Kyle told her that, like, wait a minute. She said to you that she's not a nurturer. You got her to give you that? Like, wow. Then Sutton kind of goes on to talk a little bit about her dad in this episode and his issues with chronic depression. Mm-hmm. And it was super sad. And just, you could see how much she loves him, you know? And it just seemed like as she was talking to, you could tell that, not that you ever get over it, but it was that it's still very hard for her. And to hear about all of the treatments and medicines that they tried to give him and nothing was cutting it or work. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this was just as emotional for me as Mary talking with Robert Jr. Mm-hmm. Like, I was crying again. You're sitting there watching and clearly interested, and I'm there with a box of tissues. It's like, I get tired of crying.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting, though, to see how many little memories just stick with you. Mm-hmm. You know? I mean, she had such detailed stories, and it was raw for her still.
Yeah. Especially because of her relationship with her mom, too. How it's not great at the moment.
And she clearly felt loved by her father.
One thing that I did find was funny in this episode was Avi, who's Sutton's like assistant house manager, that type of deal. He just is so irritated, like trying to talk to Reba, because he literally just kind of keeps trying to do his job. And I think that Reba is making it harder a little bit on purpose. She's definitely poking at him.
Oh, she's a poker.
And I feel like Sutton's the same way too, where she's hard to please, like, no, you're not doing that right. Or no, I don't want that ice. Or I do want ice, but I want this. And it's just like Garcelle when she's like, apple, tree. Like, you know. Garcelle then goes to talk with Reba on the porch and tells her that Sutton would love if Reba could tell her that she's proud of her and that she loves her. And Reba says that she doesn't think it's any of Garcelle's business and that she doesn't have a clue. And my first thought about this was, I don't know, I think Garcelle's being a decent friend here, but some people didn't feel that way. What do you think? Do you think she overstepped by saying that to her mom?
I don't think she overstepped. I think Garcelle handled it perfectly. Honestly, when Reba was so rude to her in that comment, I think Garcelle was like, well, you know, I don't know. And maybe I am just the messenger. And, you know, that's fair and all that. I think she defused it immediately because it could have gotten nasty.
Yeah.
And this is, you know, Sutton's a close friend of Garcelle's. She's not trying to offend anybody. I think she just wanted Reba to know how much Sutton was hurting. And it was worth it to maybe take a stray if she got her point across.
Right. I think she did. I felt like I noticed after the episode that maybe even though Sutton and Reba will have a conversation about that, about this whole thing, that Sutton doesn't feel that she's proud of her or loves her or anything, I feel like at least now it's in the back of her mom's head, like, okay, this is how my kid feels. It doesn't seem that she really cares about how her kid feels that much, right. But at least it's back there, though. And I thought that Garcelle mentioned in her confessional a really interesting point. And Garcelle said that she thinks Sutton had this great relationship with her father that she didn't have with her mother, and that there could be some jealousy there. Mm-hmm. And you had posted on Blue Sky and said, I don't care if Sutton was closer with her dad. Her mom punishing her for that is cruel. Mm-hmm. And you got a response back from cynmdmi.bluesky.social and said, she is a therapist. What the fuck? Do people go to her to be verbally abused? Oh my God.
Right.
I thought that too. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, she said she was a therapist. Who would pick her as a therapist?
Well, I totally agree. I don't see that compassion gene in her.
Right.
And I'm not saying that therapists are there just to show compassion. Mm-hmm. They have to have knowledge and reasoning skills and that sort of thing.
Right.
But you also have to show some sort of compassion, and she just doesn't seem like she can. But I agree. I thought that was a really interesting point that Garcelle brought up. I think it's fair. Mm-hmm. And it has to be very hard, first of all, for a parent when you can't seem to make a connection with your child, but your spouse can.
Yeah.
So there might be some jealousy there. But then to have your spouse die by suicide, and there's that whole feeling of, why wasn't I enough to keep you here? Why wasn't our family enough to keep you here? I mean, depression is an illness mm-hmm. that just you can't just be like, you should be happy. Look at all you have. It doesn't work that way, right. And so it had to be very hard for her to deal with the fact that her husband just wanted out in the worst way.
Well, and Sutton said, too, that she feels like she has some pent-up resentment at her mother for keeping a loaded gun in the house.
Yeah.
That was really raw, I thought, to mention, or to share your feeling like that in a confessional.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily smart, but if he was that ill, he might have found another way to do it.
Sutton then goes to show her mom her new sustainable clothing collection that she has. And what's hilarious is you see Kyle and Garcelle literally listening by the steps there to see what they can hear, because they know that Sutton's going to talk to her mom. Mm-hmm. And that would be me.
Well, I've seen that meme everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny.
So Sutton point blank just asks her mom if she's proud of her, and her mom says she doesn't understand, and why Sutton would think that she's not proud of her. And Sutton's like, well, because you never say it. You don't ever tell me that, and you don't tell me I love you. You don't any of that. Mm-hmm. And her mom says that she doesn't need to.
No, why do I have to?
Right. And like Sutton's like, well, because I'm asking you
right
to. And Reba says that she doesn't have to say any of those things, and that she feels saying any of them is trite and inconsequential.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Clearly, she's using, and I don't know if excuse is the right word or not, but that she's using that she didn't grow up that mm-hmm. way, that she didn't hear it, so she doesn't do that. But I just think, you have to evolve and you have to grow. And when your kid comes to you and says, I need to hear it, mm-hmm. I need you to tell me these things, then you need to change your behavior.
Well, what bothers me about Reba here too is that you don't ever say it to her. It's not like we're talking like, oh my gosh, I tell you in big events that I'm proud of you or that I love you. I might not say it every day, but I do.
Right.
That's one thing. You don't say it to her ever. Not once, not for anything.
Right.
So there's not even any there's nothing to go off of.
That's not trite.
Right.
That's never.
That's never. Exactly. And it's like, I do get the point of words being overused. Like the word awesome, for example. Oh my God, awesome is so overused.
Right.
When something is awesome, like you're literally in awe of it.
Right.
We use it way too much. I get how I love you is used too much too. I mean, you could first meet somebody and be like, oh my God, I love them. Like Jessie Solomon in the first episode.
Oh my God, I know. Oh, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes.
But I'm just like, so I get the point. But when you never say it, then you can't say that it's inconsequential or that it's trite because you don't ever do it.
Or it's overused if you don't mean it. If you're throwing out an I love you and it's just words and there's nothing behind it, then sure. You know, of course it's pointless. But I mean, I don't know. I heard it all the time growing up. I think I say it to you every day when you go to bed. I'm like, okay, I love you. Good night or whatever.
Well, no, you don't say good night. You say nighters, which I hate.
I know you hate it.
What does it even mean? It doesn't mean anything.
Can you see the duality here in I'm saying I love you and I mean it. I do love you. But I'm also saying nighters, which I know you hate. So I got to say, you said something to me about that I just thought was the funniest thing ever. You're like, you know, Mom, you can go up and down in your Nordic track. You go up and down in, you know, I'm going to watch what I eat and I don't want to go out to eat ever again and all this stuff. You go, the most consistent thing you do is you say stupid nighters to me every night. I don't think I've missed a night since I've said it. It's probably been like a year.
Oh, it's been it feels like it's been 10, but it's, you know, I can't believe you stick with that. The one stupid thing.
I was kind of hoping that it would catch on and you would start saying it to me, but
I think I did once on accident, and believe me, I was pissed.
That was the happiest I've ever been.
I was so mad.
I'm like, it worked.
Because I think it was just like good night, okay, and then I said it
I know.
too.
I said it as a joke the first time.
Yeah.
And we both laughed, and then the joke was over for you, and for me, it's a joke every night, so I love it. I think it's funny. I need to have a shirt made that says nighters.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Don't wear it out.
I would wear it with my sweatpants.
Well, this part of the episode ends up working out. I felt like their conversation did, Sutton and her mom's, where Sutton invites her mom to come to her capsule collection to see it in California, and her mom accepts the invite, and it ends with them both saying, we can do better, which is great.
Yeah, I do think had she not had this conversation with her mom, or had Garcelle not laid down a sort of breadcrumb for her to follow, then this might not have happened.
Yeah.
But that opened the door for her to say, okay, well, it looks like Sutton needs me or wants me to come, so I'm going to make an effort. So, yeah, I think overall it was successful.
After the talk with her mom, Sutton goes to call down Kyle and Garcelle for brunch, and she walks right in to go to the steps, and they're both right there trying to play cool, though. They hear her coming, and they scatter.
Yeah,
really
they were
quick.
both listening, along with, it looked like production.
And Avi was there, too.
And all there trying to hear the conversation. And as soon as they hear her walking over, they scatter. But I gotta say, Kyle pulled it off.
She did. She played it cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. Grabbed her phone right out and pretended like she was walking down the steps. That was good.
It was really funny.
It was really
like,
quick.
what? What's happening? I'm sorry, I was on my phone.
Yeah, I was literally just coming down the steps.
Oh, it was perfect.
So yeah, I thought that was a good way to end and wrap up that part of the episode. Next, we'll go to Woes, Erica, and Dorit meeting for lunch. And The lunch starts with Woes saying that she wants to have a baby with Keely, but they haven't said I love you. Weird.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's really weird.
I do. I think it's weird.
And you're waiting for him. Why hasn't he? You said, I know he loves me. Well, why hasn't he said it? And she said she hasn't because she wants to hear it first. But that seems like I don't like that reason.
I don't either. That seems like a mind game type thing.
I'm holding out. I'm waiting.
Right.
Well, no. If you love him, tell him.
Yeah. And then you might get it right back.
And if you don't, then you're saving yourself some time here.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't love that.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I love you.
I thought it was funny, though, how when Bo said she was going to tell some tea or whatever, and how Dorit and Erica come in close together.
I know.
Like, tell us.
That was funny. Who knew that Erica was so funny? I don't know.
I know. I really like her.
Same. Yeah. I'm really enjoying her this season. I think I tweeted out, she's the voice of reason this season. She's trying to keep the peace. She's trying to keep all the friendships intact. But I think she's been a great friend to everyone.
Yeah.
And she's funny. I saw someone comment on when I said that, someone comment saying that she was boring and has no storyline. And I thought, you know what? We got to shelf the storyline thing. I don't care about a storyline, a fake storyline. I have zero interest in that. Erica is literally the glue right now in this friendship group. And I find her interesting to watch, fun to watch, and I'm enjoying her.
Well, because then you have the flip side of the coin where people bitch that you have a fake storyline and this, that, whatever. Now you're saying that she doesn't have one?
Right.
Like, what?
You can't make people happy.
No. And honestly, I think maybe it's that Erica's finally relaxed now. The whole Tom stuff of it all has been a couple years now, and she's not, having to defend herself, right and left to everybody.
Agreed.
So she can just, she had her bad season. Like, she's had, everybody's had one. She's had hers.
Hers was brutal.
Yes, and hers was pretty bad. So that's enough for me. Then Dorit says that she spoke to PK on the phone. And Erica and Bose are kind of looking at her like, oh, okay, how'd that go? And Dorit says that they spoke like they were friends and like nothing was wrong. And I think Erica and Bose immediately clocked what was going on, like immediately.
Yeah. He's a fraud.
Yes. And they're both trying to tell Dorit that this nice act of PK calling you is fake. It's a trick. I really liked how Bose described this too. She said, this is an art of war, and that he's trying to calm you down so that he can strike first.
I thought it was insightful
yes.
and great advice, and I hope Dorit listens.
I know. God, I love her.
Bose?
Yes.
Yeah, she's fabulous.
Well, I can tell her that I love her. Keely can't, but I can say that I love her.
If she needs to hear it,
yes, hear from me.
Message her once a week and let her know. Yes. Oh my God, that's funny.
I am hoping that after this conversation that they had with Dorit, that they got this message through to her, because Dorit seemed a little bit shell-shocked, I think, when they were like, no, don't buy any of it. Like, she was kind of like, what?
Yeah, she seemed fooled by it.
Yeah, she did. So she's got to be quick. She needs to get a lawyer quickly. I hope that she has one. Obviously, this was filmed a while ago.
Right.
So I'm hoping by now that she has done something. But...
Yeah, I wonder what the update is. I'm interested to know where they are right now and if they've hit the 10-year mark.
Yeah. Well, speaking about the 10-year mark, you had posted on Blue Sky, so who has more money, PK or Dorit? Erica mentioned this California law about 10 years. Wouldn't that protect Dorit more? He owed money everywhere. And you had gotten a response back from joeylucas.bluesky, who said, I just don't think there's a lot to fight about. PK's wealth always seemed like smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know where all their money has come from.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know he manages Boy George, but come on, that was, he was popular in the 80s.
Right.
So I don't consider that lucrative at this point, you know? And maybe I saw a couple tweets saying he probably stashed money away in like Cayman Island accounts and stuff.
Yeah, could have.
I also saw some comments on Instagram from the Bravo docket who was talking about how ruthless he is in business. And like he would owe money and he would somehow get the court to like prolong it and he wouldn't pay for years. And we're talking millions.
Yeah.
So he does seem ruthless. I don't know who has more money. Dorit can't be making that much from this show to pay for a home in Beverly Hills.
Right. Agreed.
And her clothes and her children. I mean...
Well, I wonder how that would work because I know that PK owes, like, I remember the casino bill for, like, wasn't it something like 22 million? Like, something really, really high.
Are you serious?
I thought that.
I know it was the Bellagio.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was that. I thought it was like 2.1.
No, I thought it was something ridiculous, unless I just pulled that number out of my ass. But
well,
I don't
we're not
think
about
I
facts
did.
here.
Right, no, that's what you listen to the Bravo docket for.
Right.
That's all fact. This is all speculation.
So it could be 2, it could be 22.
Right.
That's not really the point.
No, point is it was a shit ton of money, and that's all that matters about my story here. But what I was thinking, my train of thought when I said that, though, was if he has all this debt, then would it be better for her to get out before the 10-year mark? Like, does all of your debt also become half and half, like split?
I imagine yes. I thought it was really interesting, too, that Erica said that thing about spousal support.
Oh, yeah.
But what if you make more than your spouse? I mean, what if Dorit made more? Would he get spousal support?
Right.
So
seems like it.
Yeah. So I don't know who this protects because I don't know who has more money. I don't know if it is all smoke and mirrors and no one has money and they're literally juggling and, you know, what's the saying? You steal from Peter to pay Paul.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know who has more money, but if we see a garage sale happening at Dorit's house, she might need to sell some of her vintage clothing that she's got, her couture clothing. So
exactly. And I don't know if she's still designing clothes. I mean, that's what she started out as, a designer.
Oh, right. We cannot forget Beverly Beach. We get that moneymaker that she's got
trivia
there.
question. Do you remember what her company was called before Beverly Beach?
Yes, I do. It was called Nava.
Oh, my God. Good one.
Yes, which I believe is also her daughter's middle name.
Wow, you are spilling facts. We're about facts now.
We've changed. We should play trivia to see who knows more.
I would love that. Challenge accepted.
Okay, good.
I'm not sure how much I know about. I haven't watched old school episodes in a really long time on all the franchises, but we do have a trivia game that covers the five main franchises. So
yeah, we should pull it out.
Okay, deal.
New York will be our safety category.
Yeah,
and then Jersey might be a little harder.
Jersey's my least favorite. Jersey will always be my weakest.
Yes,
I think I would do well in Atlanta, New York, and probably OC. What's the other one?
Beverly Hills, the one we're talking about right now.
Oh, yeah. No, the only one I don't think I'd do well in is Jersey.
Early OC would be a little hard for me because I was really, really young when I saw some of those episodes for the first time.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Do you remember, speaking of Jersey, the screen name of the guy that Danielle Staub was going to meet at that bar, and he stood her up?
Yes. Yeah. I believe it was Gucci Model.
It was Gucci Model.
Yes. I do remember that.
I remember us playing the trivia game and getting that question. I'm like, oh, shit, what was that? Mm-hmm. So now I will never forget.
Yeah. Best Etsy purchase ever.
Yeah.
On next week's episode of Beverly Hills, we see that Dorit has a 4th of July party, and all the ladies get into it. which is not shocking. Sutton calls Dorit a bitch in her own house.
Yep.
And Dorit was not happy about that. And then Garcelle says for Woes not to be Dorit's spokesperson, which I'm like, really, Garcelle? Are you for real? You literally talked to Sutton's mother and were her spokesperson. You actually said that you were the messenger, and then you come back and say that you're not to be a spokesperson.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of calling people out on shit like that when it's you being a friend.
Yeah. I know.
I'm her friend. I'm sticking up for her because I'm her friend.
Right.
That's what you do. Mm-hmm. So, I think that's kind of bullshit.
Yeah, I never have liked that reason ever for anything. And it seems like Sutton will walk out of the party because Kyle and Garcelle are at the front door kind of like looking out the door. I'm just assuming that.
We saw Kyle chase her.
Yeah, so it would appear that.
Looked good.
I know. It did look good.
Let's talk about the season 9 premiere of Summer House. Strong premiere, I thought.
I thought so too. I would agree.
Everyone returned to the cast but Danielle. Mm-hmm. I don't know if she was fired or if she left, but...
Well, she's a businesswoman and entrepreneur, so she was able to leave.
That did not sound sincere.
Her words, not mine.
Okay. And they added 2 new women and a guy who hasn't been on yet, right? He wasn't on in the premiere, was he?
No, he was not.
Okay. We know he's there because I saw him in the pictures that they all posted for the premiere night. They had like a party.
Right.
So he was in that, but he wasn't in the episode.
Right.
The 2 new women are Lexi and Bailey. Mm-hmm. I swear I thought Lexi was 12.
Oh my God. I know. I had a very strong reaction to her, and not in a favorable way.
Yeah.
First of all, the outfit that she wore, I don't understand who picked it out for her. And why she must have asked people, hey, do you think this looks good? And anybody that told her yes was lying to her.
Not her friend.
No, because she's wearing this like corset thing with denim shorts, literally jean shorts. They don't go. Then she's got these weird like high heels on too. Yeah. They're kind of like sandals, and these big hoop earrings. Where are you going?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think she thought maybe it was sexy.
I guess, but there are so many ways that you could look sexy.
Well, I think
that
she would
have
looked adorable with just a little t-shirt on, like Sierra wears, like a crop t-shirt or something. If that's the look she's going for, this was a miss for me. But the jury's kind of out. You know what? I saw a lot of people were comparing her to season 1 Lala.
Well, that's not a great comparison.
No, it's not. And she kind of looked a little bit like her.
Yeah.
And acted a little bit like her. So, I mean, like I said, it was 1 episode. We have a whole season. We'll see how it goes. Well, what did you think of Bailey?
I thought she was fairly irrelevant.
Yeah, she didn't quite make any impression.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because Lexi really put herself out there, or if because Jessie Solomon was all
that was it though
over her.
That was it. It was
100%. He was borderline annoying, or maybe not even borderline.
No, not borderline.
Okay.
I thought you were gonna say he was borderline stalkerish because I was feeling more of that vibe than anything else. No, he was so annoying, and I'm like, can you tone it down a little bit? Like it just. It seemed like you would get more natural in front of the camera as you are on more often. Like after the first season, I get why sometimes you're more reserved than you would normally be. But holy shit, dude.
Yeah, it was a lot.
It was a lot. So I don't know. But I didn't think that Bailey made an impression. I don't actually really think Lexi did either, just because Jessie kept talking to her and wouldn't shut up.
Well, I happened to notice when they posted the party photos for the premiere that Bailey wasn't in them. And so I asked the question on social media, what's the word on the street about Bailey? She's not at the premiere party. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people replied. Mm-hmm. The first was from @MichaelHorn23, who said, apparently she stops filming around weekend 3. No clue if it was her decision or Bravo's, but that's why she was edited out as much as possible. Then I got a reply from @AshyStew, who said, I saw a story that said she was supposedly bad-mouthing the other cast, telling people in the city she hated all of them, and was revealing storylines to people. Production confronted her, and she stopped showing up to film. Don't know how true this is, though. Now, I heard like multiple similar tweets as that. And so I'm guessing she just couldn't keep the tea and kept spilling it everywhere. And if you're bad mouthing the show and it gets back to production, then, you know,
How
especially while you're
stupid.
filming, you know, she's telling people as they're filming what's going on.
Yeah. What a moron.
Yeah, it wasn't smart.
I mean, your first season, too, is so incredibly stupid. I feel like we don't hear a ton about Summer House, like, getting out, spoilers-wise. So they've all been pretty good as a cast to not say anything. But what are you doing? Why would you do that? And
maybe she felt overlooked and was trying to get some relevance, you know, somewhere.
Saying that you don't like the cast is so dumb because, like, who are you?
Well, they all seem very nice to her, too.
Yeah. I don't get it either. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if it was both in the fact that they didn't find her interesting enough on camera by weekend 3, and which is pretty bad if they have to pull you, or if it could be a little bit both.
Yeah. Well, there's no way that they're going to keep someone around who can't keep production secrets. That's just not happening. Especially, it's not even like you've wrapped filming, you're waiting on the edit, and you're leaking stuff. That you're literally leaking stuff while you're filming.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just not smart. She clearly just didn't want it then.
True.
So Lexi mentions that her last name is Wood. And Jessie asks if her middle name is Gives Me. Lexi gives me Wood.
I know, when he said it, I was just like, you're just meeting her for the first time. What a crass joke to tell somebody after 20 minutes of meeting them. You know?
Now, she said she's 26 and that she's heard it a million times. She told him, she humored him, which I'm not sure why.
Right.
And is like, oh my God, that's so funny. And I'm thinking, oh, come on. It's really dumb. Like, are we going to, make this guy think that it's okay to say shit like that? I don't know. I thought it was gross too, but.
Yeah, I thought that was stupid. And then I thought her way of trying to get an anecdote about herself, which was literally like, I'm going to knock on myself and I can do that because my last name is Wood. I'm like, okay, that was stupid too. Like, the whole thing was stupid. Everything about this whole conversation.
Well, they're both trying very hard.
Yes,
I think hers is more nerves, though.
100%.
And so I'm going to give her a pass for a while.
I give no passes.
Well, I am. I'm going to give her a pass. She's brand new.
Yeah, I know.
She's nervous. And so,
Sure.
I'm nicer than you. So speaking of nerves, West.
Oh, God.
West is super nervous at seeing Sierra again. And probably because he was such a shitbag,
Right, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm seeing mixed posts about Sierra and should she be over it? Is she being ridiculous? And I don't really feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think that she's a very guarded person. She's very careful with who she spends her time with and who she gives her time to, and also who she gives herself to.
Right.
And so she made that decision with West because she finally trusted him. And for him to just introduce her to his parents and then all of a sudden be like, it ran its course.
Yeah, I know. What? Why? What happened? What
it was less than 4 months.
Yeah. What are you talking about? It seems very, very weird. So I get why Sierra's pissed.
Yes.
And that's all it is. I don't think that there's anything about her that is like, I want him back now. I want to still date him. I mean, probably at the reunion, she clearly was hoping maybe something would happen. But
she
just
wanted to see
there and looked like an idiot.
That's exactly it. She was sitting there thinking, okay, what's he going to say? Mm-hmm. Is he going to be like, I made a huge fucking mistake?
Yeah.
I want you back. I panicked, whatever. He didn't say anything. And then he goes and gives an article to the New York Times saying the relationship ran its course and we just aren't each other's person.
Like, oh, okay. Thanks for telling me that.
I know, which he didn't.
Right. So it's too bad because I actually liked West in his first season here. And I think he's got a great personality, especially for a reality TV show, a Bravo show like this.
Right.
I think that he's very likable.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So stop making me hate you.
I know. Exactly.
I want to like you.
Yes.
I do like him, but
I know.
I just think he's very cavalier about her feelings. Mm-hmm. And that I don't like.
Yeah, I think West completely diminished her feelings in this entire thing. And Sierra, I thought, was very open about how she felt. And I thought he received that pretty well, too. Mm-hmm. So I'm not really sure what's lost in translation here, like how you didn't get what she was saying.
Yeah.
Unless you're just an ass.
Or just didn't care. Or wasn't listening.
Right.
Well, when Sierra and Paige get there, they're kind of hugging everybody, and West goes in for the hug, and she kind of puts her hand on his shoulder, and it was like stopped the complete movement and was like, hey, how are you?
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
And kept walking. She didn't even wait to hear how he was. It's just like, hey, how are you? On to the next person.
Well, and he was like, I want to go last. West is like, I don't want to be the first person to say hi. I want to go last.
Well, maybe you wouldn't be so nervous if you were more of a decent person.
And why are you so nervous? That would imply that you did something that you know is kind of shitty.
And you should apologize for. Yeah.
Exactly.
So everyone meets in the living room, and Lindsay tells them all that she has an announcement. But before she gets to the point, she goes through her entire dating history, starting from 8 years ago.
Yeah, this started out as a Brittany from Salt Lake City announcement.
Oh my God.
Where she...
Yeah, good reference. It was roughly 30 minutes.
They timed it?
Yeah, it was like 7:23 or 7:31 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then by the time she finished, it was like 8. So it took forever.
Oh, Lindsay.
But she finally gets to the announcement that she's 18 weeks pregnant, which is already in her second term.
Right. I love how Wes sat down on the couch too and was like, hey, I heard like the rumor that you were pregnant. Like right before she's getting ready.
Yeah. Are you drinking?
Yeah.
Because he knew if she was drinking that she wasn't. So he checked that out immediately. But she's clearly drinking non-alcoholic stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Also, though, I thought it was funny, too, how West was at the very end. Lindsay goes upstairs with Gabby. He's like, what's the baby's last name?
I know. And Paige is like, go ask her.
Yeah. I dare you to go up and ask Lindsay that. Go for it.
The weirdest reaction, though, for me was Jessie's. He doesn't want a pregnant lady in the house, he said. Yeah. And he's concerned about how Carl's going to feel about the pregnancy. Carl.
Yeah, Carl can kick rocks, okay? Because I care zero about how Carl feels.
Right?
I care actually less than zero, but it's just ridiculous. I don't care at all. And Jessie, you idiot, you have been there. This is your second season. You've been there one season. Lindsay has been here literally from the beginning.
Yes.
And why would a pregnant woman make you uncomfortable? That's also another thing.
I know. She's not going to cramp your style. She's not interested in you. You're not interested in her.
Well, it's like Kyle and Amanda are married.
I know.
Does that
Do you want a married couple in the house?
Yeah. Does that defeat the purpose? I mean, they're sort of married. I don't know. Kyle doesn't treat it as such all the time, but, you know. They're married when they want to be.
Yeah, I know. The whole thing was it gave me the ick. I'm like, ugh, what's your problem, dude?
Well, it was such a 180 too. Like, because I actually liked him last season.
I know, what's going on?
And now I'm like, who are you?
Is this like the second season curse or something?
I don't know.
So the group all get ready for dinner. They are having this hibachi dinner outside. And Sierra and the men kind of start doing the math on Lindsay's pregnancy and think she got pregnant roughly 2 months into dating Turner and 3 months after the breakup with Carl. And I'm not sure why it bothers everybody so much, especially the men when they have their own relationship problems and cheating rumors and cheating confirmations.
Right.
So you care that she's pregnant with this guy? Why?
Well, I don't get it either because do I admit that it was fast? Sure. I can say that. That's fine. And I think anybody would say that.
Right.
However, you didn't want Carl and Lindsay together. You said they were terrible together. They're a terrible couple. They break it off. Now she's with somebody else. And now you don't like that either, that she got pregnant too fast.
I mean, nobody's asking you to babysit. Nobody's asking you to participate in anything. So, you know, let her do what she wants to do. Even if she doesn't end up with him, she wanted a baby.
Right, which has been her literal goal since you've known her.
Yeah.
Like, since we've seen her on TV, that is literally the one thing that she has wanted more than anything.
Right.
So, whatever.
So all that matters is if Turner's fine with it and she's fine with it. And apparently they are. So, again, like you said, kick rocks. So at dinner, Jessie and Lexi are sitting next to each other and they're talking and flirting. But there were a few examples that made me think that Jessie thinks Lexi's stupid. The first, he asked her if she graduated high school.
Yeah.
Which she said she did, that she was homeschooled and took classes online. Then she said to him that she got used to kissing cheeks twice after living in Paris, but went in and gave him one kiss on one cheek.
God.
And he's like, do you know that that was one and not two? Like, can you count to two?
God.
He asked her if she would describe herself as ditzy.
Right, so that's definitely he thinks that you're stupid, is he basically asked you, are you stupid?
Yes.
You know.
And she was offended.
Right.
Finally. Finally offended. And then the kicker, did you take the ACTs?
Right. And the ACTs, because I don't know if you know.
I know SATs. I wasn't familiar with ACTs.
SATs are English and math. Mm-hmm. And so that would be usually how you get into college. But usually for people who are doing like math and science stuff, the ACTs are more important. Oh. So that would be what you would take for that.
Which clearly Jessie Solomon took.
Right.
So he decides to ask her that, and I don't think she said no. I don't know if she knew what they were, but she said no.
Right.
Someone asks me these 4 questions, and I wouldn't think it's cute.
No, I would. Well, how we know she's stupid is you're not clocking any of these. So since it took you basically until the "Are you stupid?" to get it, we're not starting off strong.
No.
Here.
And he said he knew what he was doing.
Oh,
because I like to push the limit, test you, see how far I can go over that a little bit, and then pull back. Mm-hmm. I'm like, so you're playing around?
Yeah. After you do that after meeting somebody for the first time too.
See, he's just, I don't know if season 1 was like an anomaly, a mirage. That's not who he was. Maybe because he was going through his cancer scare, that he was just scared. His mind was somewhere else, and he just wasn't being his full party self, because he's coming in strong here.
Right.
I'm not feeling it. I don't know.
I'm not either. It's too bad.
I hope I warm up to him, because there's so few men on these shows, and
I know.
when the two new ones are both duds, then, you know.
And why do I already hate the new guy that we haven't seen yet? And the 1 second I've seen of him in that trailer was that you slept with 2 women in the same night. And I'm like, you're gross, dude.
I know.
Like, I already don't like you.
I know.
And you haven't even shown up yet. You haven't even walked through the door. And I'm like, no, leave. Get out.
So half the group decide to go out for the night to a bar and drink. But Kyle says he's grown up and he's going to be more respectful of Amanda and her feelings this time. So he gets home and they clock it at 2:01. Yeah. The rest of the group get home and they clock it at 2:23.
It's so stupid because it's like making it seem like you were this great guy and great husband and you're like, I'm gonna come home to my wife, which, to be honest with you shouldn't have just went out at all. That would have been the right move, but that's not Kyle. So.
No, that's not Kyle. That's not what he's gonna do. The interesting thing is that they don't really film them going out. So
no, they don't.
If it's not part of the show, you don't have to. You're going to be 42.
Right.
So you're going out with, you know, these 20-year-olds, but whatever. But I had said to you, did Kyle have all these guys sit in the car for 23 minutes so he can say he came back early?
I 100% believe this.
Yeah. It seems like it.
Yes. It seems like that to me. Like, hey, guys, I need to just make sure that, you know, I'm home before you. So either he said it at the club they were at or at the bar they were at and was like, I need to be the first one home. And they're like, okay, you go first.
I'm taking the first Uber.
Yeah.
You take the second Uber.
Right.
Yeah.
It definitely seems like a terribly orchestrated plan that was clocked immediately.
Well, Amanda wouldn't know until she saw it. But yes. I know he got in bed and was like, I'm home early, babe, or whatever. It's just like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. I do think it was good on his part, though, when he's like, I said I'm going to leave by 2, and he left by 2. He was home by 2. Mm-hmm. So that's what he has to do. He has to make limits. He needs limits, or he will not follow anything.
Yeah.
So if she's like, fine, I know you want to go out with the boys, do what, you know, not do whatever. He does whatever, but as long as you're home by a certain time, and if he follows that, then it shouldn't be a problem. Mm-hmm. But the one person who's not there yet is Carl. Carl hasn't arrived yet. He comes this next morning, and while he's bringing in his boxes, everybody's out by the pool, and he's really nervous. He tells production he's really nervous about seeing Lindsay. He doesn't know how to talk to her. He doesn't know what it's going to be like to see her for the first time. And production's telling him, it's normal. It's normal to be nervous. Mm-hmm. And he goes to the bathroom, and you can hear his mic. He's just taking deep breaths and trying to calm himself down. Yeah. But I got to say, what bothered me was his confessional about this, because he says he saw her Instagram announcement the night before. His phone was blowing up, probably with buddies and all that, saying, did you see she's pregnant?
Yeah, probably the 3 yahoos in the house probably wrote him.
And he said he sees her pregnancy announcement and that she's been hiding it for this last 6 months because she knows how crazy it looks. Excuse me? First of all, that's not the right timeline, but whatever.
Right. No,
what? Why are you even talking about it? He's already bugging me. Grace, there is not a man in that house that I can stand at this point.
I know.
And we just started.
I know.
He says a part of him's happy for her.
Why? Go.
But the other part is taking time to heal and still processing. And he's trying to get rid of his resentment and anger towards her.
Here's the problem. The first sentence that you said, the one about the timeline or whatever being crazy, that is the real Carl. That is his real feeling.
Yes.
Then he has to sort of backtrack a little bit and try to cover it up a little bit in this, well, it's because I'm angry and, I'm all these feelings healing. Yeah, right. No, it's not. You're just pissed. But it doesn't look good, so you're going to just throw all that shit around it when basically what you're saying first is your initial reaction.
Well, didn't he dump her?
Right.
I mean, my God, he gaslights the fuck out of her.
Yes.
They show the flashback in the kitchen where she couldn't say anything. She was keeping her cool, and he just kept going at it and going at it. I personally think he wanted Lindsay to break up with him.
Yes.
He wanted to be the victim. He did not want to be the one to call off a wedding a month before it was happening. Mm-hmm. It would look bad. It would reflect poorly on him. He didn't want that. So he was doing everything he could to get her to break up with him, and she wasn't doing it.
Right.
So finally he had to. But he's got to switch it around now so that he's the victim somehow.
Uh-huh.
Well, I had retweeted a comment I thought was really good from Bravo and Botox, who said, "Oh no, Carl, you do not get to judge how fast Lindsay moved on and got pregnant. You dumped her. And don't try this passive-aggressive shit to make her look like the bad guy. Quote, I took the time to heal, blah, blah, blah."
Exactly. 100%. Once Carl dumped Lindsay, you're done. You're not together anymore. Whatever Lindsay does has no relevance to you.
Right.
It makes no difference. And so for him to say anything about her pregnancy at all is just so incredibly dumb and stupid.
Yeah. I agree. I don't know why you're going there with that. You can handle things one of two ways. You can either be like, I wish her well. She's always wanted a baby. I hope things work out for her. End it there. Sure. But this whole I'm healing. I have scars on my heart. I suffered. What are you talking about, dude? You were horrible.
Right. Exactly.
Well, you had said something interesting to me when we were watching this back, and you had mentioned that there were some similarities and some differences in the way Carl and Craig were handling these breakups.
Yeah, I do see a few similarities and a few differences. The first one that I think is similar, though, is that they're both kind of going with the I was broken up with, I'm heartbroken about it, and I am so sad that this didn't work out, and I'm, working for a better, for a better future type deal. Like, I'm hoping I can heal from this. Mm-hmm. And I will say that Craig is sort of going the route of being a little bit nicer to Paige. Not quite, because we're getting Austin's story of that basically Paige cheated on Craig. Mm-hmm. And I think that Austin can, feed stuff out that Craig can't say.
Same with Sierra.
Want to say.
It's interesting because you had made a comment, go to the best friends. The best friends are going to give you the real story.
Yes.
Because Paige doesn't want to look bad and Craig doesn't want to look bad. But if you go to the best friends, maybe we'll get something. Because they have no problem airing out, the shit that the partner's done.
Mm-hmm. So I feel like they're both taking on that role of the feel bad for me role. Now, I guess, like I said, the difference is that Craig's coming out of this a little bit sweeter here.
He's handling it a little better than Carl.
Or coming off at least more sympathetic. I don't know if he is.
Right.
I have no idea.
Right.
He could be really pissed like Carl is, but Carl can't seem to just let it go, though, and wrap it up and just not say anything like a dig.
Because that's the true Carl.
Yes.
You're right. He will cover it up with this sweetness stuff, but then he can only maintain that for so long, and then the true bitter, mean guy comes out. I don't like Carl. Any other similarities? Do you think they're both going at it from a PR standpoint?
I think you have to. I think, like I said, Craig's doing a little bit of a better job than Carl is. I mean, Lindsay could have been your PR person, and you got rid of that.
Right.
So I just I feel like Craig is getting more sympathy than Carl is. I think he's doing a better job, but I actually think they're playing from the same handbook here, though.
Oh, mm-hmm.
It just strikes me as feel bad for me type deal. And that the women are the problem.
Right.
Paige is the problem. Lindsay's the problem. It can't be me.
Right. It's interesting because Carl blaming Lindsay when he's the one that broke up with her, she's moved on. And I saw a comment somewhere where he was like, well, I never intended to break up with her. I didn't want to break up. Like, dude, you said you didn't want to get married.
Right.
What's the difference in canceling a wedding and not breaking up?
And waiting a year. You don't know that you want to be with the person right now.
Right.
And if you don't want to, that's okay, by the way. I'm not saying that you have to marry her or else, you know, it's going to look bad or something. Do whatever you want. Yes, people will have to return flights and, you know, hotels and things like that. But don't waste her time then. That's fine.
Right.
You don't have to get married. But it's just like...
But you expect her to want to stay with you? That's the weird thing. It's like, I didn't want to break up, though. So you don't want to marry her, but you want her to still date you.
What changes?
It's like a marriage anyway.
Yeah.
They were living together.
Right.
I mean...
Nothing changes from you really being married versus
living
together.
Yes.
Because all of it's the same. It's just that you have a legally binding contract. And that's it.
So you didn't want the legally binding contract, but you still wanted her to live with you and date you. Like, get the fuck out of here. You know, no.
Right.
So the episode ends with Carl taking a few deep breaths and then going outside to see everyone. And we don't get a sneak peek of next week's episode, but rather a sneak peek of the entire season.
Yeah.
Which was good.
Mm-hmm.
Looked very good.
Yeah.
I think we're in for a good season. But then they show a pickup scene after filming was over because Paige announced that her and Craig had split. Mm-hmm. And she throws in that she caught him texting 2 bitches. So I did see a clip of Craig on the Tamron Hall show saying it didn't happen. She flat out asked him, did you text 2 women while you were with Paige? And he said categorically no. Mm-hmm. Do I believe him? No. I'm sorry, I don't. There's no way that Paige is just kind of pulling that number out of her hat.
Yeah.
And why would she even throw that out there anyway? What I don't know is when. Did this happen when you were exclusive?
Yeah.
Or did this happen in the beginning when you were kind of seeing each other, but he was in Charleston, you were in New York, and it wasn't like exclusive? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either because I felt like Paige took a little while to sort of claim him as her boyfriend. She does strike me as the type that would be like, we're just talking for right now. Like, I'm giving him a trial run, basically. Right. And that could have went on for a while. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happened.
Because wasn't she kind of seeing Andrea? And then Craig kind of moved in?
Oh, maybe. I don't remember.
Like, remember
that
he was...
Yeah, it was a while ago.
And it was awkward for him because, you know, he still liked her and all that stuff. So I don't quite know if this was during that time. Because if it wasn't, and it was when you were exclusively dating and all this stuff, then, you know, that's not cool at all. But I don't know. I'm kind of getting tired of it, and we haven't even gotten to it. You know, we've been discussing this breakup back and forth, and I just tend to believe whoever the last person is that I heard from. So Paige is like, he did this. I'm like, ugh, what a scumbag. And then he's like, no, I didn't do it. I'm like, oh, good for you. You didn't do it. Then I
know, because then I heard Craig be like, oh, I was with her for Thanksgiving. And then like a couple days later, it was, you know, she dumped me. And I'm thinking, oh my God, right after Thanksgiving? How could you do that?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah. And then I hear the same thing as you, like, you asshole. You texted somebody else.
Yeah.
Too. So yeah, I really don't know where to go. with this.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's going to be interesting to see how people handle Paige and Craig's breakup and Lindsay and Carl's breakup.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say is that this Paige and Craig thing right now is okay, but this could very easily turn into a Lindsay Carl situation,
right?
Where the tone of, what they're both saying turns. So,
well, I will say, you have one life. You need to be happy. As long as Paige wasn't cheating on him during the relationship, she can go whenever she wants. That's how I feel anyway.
Yeah.
She wasn't in love with him. I think it's actually evident. I don't watch Southern Charm, so I don't see how they are on that show. On this show, in the very beginning, I didn't mention it. She's like, oh, yeah, her and Sierra in the car driving down to the Hamptons. And she's like, oh, yeah, my brother and I picked on Craig the whole time. Every time he talked, we're like, shut up, Craig. Like, I think it's kind of evident she was not feeling him already.
I would agree.
So, then just do it. Rip off the Band-Aid and end it. But she had every right to go when she wanted to go.
Let's get into this week's episode of Potomac, which is part 1 of the reunion.
Yes.
We'll start off with the episode by talking about something exciting that happened. We were watching the show and we heard your voice from one of our podcast episodes.
Yes, we did.
Which was super cool to hear. I mean, we haven't been doing this podcast that long, so to see your voice pop up on the reunion for Potomac was pretty cool. And if you're not aware, it was right in the beginning of the episode, actually, and it was talking about Karen's guilty verdict of her DUI and her other charges. So you were the female voice.
I was. I said something like Karen Huger of Real Housewives of Potomac was found guilty of DUI and several other charges or something like that. I don't remember. We got contacted by a producer from the show, and they wanted to use part of our podcast in the opening. And we're like, you could use 1 second. You could use me saying Karen Huger, and I would think it's cool. So, yeah, it was fun.
Mm-hmm. You sounded good. You sounded easy and light.
Breezy?
And breezy. Yeah, I was going to say breezy.
I hoped. I was trying to channel your breeziness. I feel like maybe I was a bit robotic, but,
No, it was good. But anyway, yeah. So we wanted to mention that first, and then now we'll get into the episode.
Yes.
The reunion starts with getting an update on Karen here about her guilty verdict, and we get a snippet of a video, and Karen's looking a little rough there.
Yeah.
And she says that she's not an alcoholic and says to do as she says, not as she does. So.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. That was a really bad idea.
Yeah. I don't know who thought to throw that in, but it was.
And then they announced she's going to rehab. So you're not an alcoholic, but you're going to rehab. What for then?
Right.
If you don't believe it, then I don't know who you're trying to convince.
Right.
I don't know.
I would agree, which is kind of what Wendy was going to say later on after.
Right.
So everybody actually shows up at the reunion and nobody knows that Karen's not there.
No.
Which I wasn't expecting. She did not tell anybody that she was not going. So everybody's like looking for her, like, where's Karen? That we don't have a dressing room for her. Her name's not on anything. So Wendy even tries to call Karen before the reunion and is like, where are you? But she doesn't pick up.
No.
So she's like, okay, I guess she's not coming. So Andy tells everybody when all the women sit down on set that Karen is not coming and that she has checked herself into a recovery center. And all the women are kind of happy about it. They're like, good. Mm-hmm. But Wendy kind of wonders why she's doing it right before the sentencing, which I thought was bold of her to say, even though everybody's thinking that, for sure.
Well, she made the comment that why wouldn't you go before your trial even? So, I mean, it's understandable. Like they all said at the end, if you were that person, you would go too. Mm-hmm. Now she's scared.
Yeah.
So if it does any good and helps her at all, then whether she went there for the right reasons or not, at least she went, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess Ashley kind of had some thought that she might not be there or had a feeling. So she pulls out a photo of Karen to sit on the couch with them.
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny.
Then Andy says that they have a message from Karen, a pre-recorded one, which I thought was going to be a lovely moment, and I was wrong. Even when Karen's not physically there, she can cause a problem.
Yeah.
So Karen's message to the women is that she says that she's going and checking herself into the rehab facility, that antidepressants and drinking isn't a good mix for her, and that's why she's going. But she wanted to start by thanking everybody, or certain people that she felt, I guess, deserved to thank you. Right. And the first person she thanks is not Wendy, and it was Giselle, and you could actually see the look on Wendy's face. The camera was on her.
Well, the look on Wendy's face was the look on my face.
Yeah.
But then I thought, okay, maybe she's saving her for last. So go ahead, go through everyone. Fine.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we go through Giselle, then Kiarna, then Jazzy, which I'm like, okay, that she threw her in there, which I'm not really sure why. Then she mentions Candace, who's not even on the show anymore.
Right?
I'm like, okay, now we're reaching. Now we're getting farther and farther away from where I think you should be going. And then she ends and says she wants to end with somebody special to her. And I thought, oh,
here we go.
Wendy.
No,
Andy. Andy Cohen.
Andy fucking Cohen.
I'm like, are you kidding me?
Why?
I know, why? Exactly.
I mean, I'm sure he was supportive, but more than your friends? More than your girlfriends? Probably sent her a note like, hey, hang in there. Yeah, that was weird. I mean, I was stunned and felt terrible for Wendy.
I felt really bad for Wendy, too. I thought that maybe Wendy could have gotten over what Karen said about her just to Stacy because they were friends, and she thought, yeah, she probably said it. Yeah, I'm pissed, but whatever. And I think this literally was like, I'm done.
Well, Giselle's like, do you get it now? Do you get it? I have been telling you over and over. And, and Wendy was funny. She's like, well, I didn't trust you. I didn't like you. We weren't friends. Right. But yeah, you should get it now. I have to admit that Karen has really fallen from grace for me. I mean, from my top 3 housewives to like, I just don't even know if she's that nice of a person.
Yeah, it was really hard to watch. You had actually posted on Twitter, oh my God, Karen mentioned Jazzy and not Wendy. Whoa. And then I love the pictures you used here. I love that one that you used of Mia with her
sipping her drink. I love that one too.
And you got a response back from @YouAlwaysKnew07, who said, see, I was getting emotional until I saw she wasn't going to acknowledge my girl Wendy. What the fuck?
It's crazy. And then they kind of do a montage of all the clips of Wendy having her back.
Yes. Constantly.
And it was just like, I mean, Karen used that stupid excuse. If I didn't see it, it didn't happen. But
so
I mean,
dumb.
You're seeing it now. And Wendy was a great friend to Karen. And I hope she gets a public and private apology and some acknowledgement,
And also, though, too, you would think that with you not being at the reunion that you wouldn't want to have people still mad at you, like, before you go into this program. Like, why would you not want to just clear the air with everybody? And Wendy's your friend out of everybody. You can't acknowledge her, even if it was just as simple as that she took you to the White House.
I really don't understand it. I gotta say, I read a couple comments of people saying, oh, well, Karen is setting herself up for next season because there's a chance that she could be fired or all this, and she wants to go in with some sort of feud. But I don't know if I buy that. I don't know if her frame of mind then was thinking about next season. She was literally going into rehab and worrying about her sentencing.
Yeah.
But I really can't understand completely snubbing Wendy.
I know. Just because for whatever reason you're mad at her. I don't know how. I don't know how you're mad.
It ended with Wendy finding out the shit you said about her.
Right.
Why aren't you, like, kissing her ass?
I know.
I don't know. I cannot explain it.
Yeah. Well, clearly Wendy was very hurt and says that she knows that Karen is not her friend. After seeing that video combined with what Stacy said, Karen told her that led Wendy to this, to be like, I'm done.
Yeah, I'd be done too.
And I mean, all the women are like, oh, no, you know, like, it's fine. But I'm like, no, just...
I know.
No. Next, we'll talk about Wendy and Giselle's relationship. They brought this up in the reunion here, and they just kind of contributed their friendship to listening to each other and that they were open to hear each other, which I got this season. I thought so.
I would agree. I thought they are on their way to building some sort of trust as well.
What was funny about this part, though, is that they're kind of talking, and somehow it gets to Happy Eddie, which is Wendy's husband's CBD or
cannabis line.
Yeah. And she says, oh, business is booming. And then Giselle throws out this rumor, which I don't know where she heard it from, that Stacy might be coming out with a Happy Stacy line next season, implying that she's going to get into the cannabis business as well.
I have not heard that rumor, and I do get my fair share of people telling me stuff. Mm-hmm. That one I've not heard at all. Stacy denied it. I can't say she looked overly convincing.
Right.
So that's weird. Look, why would you pick something that someone else is already selling? Like, they pointed out that Karen actually kind of stole Wendy's idea with the candles. And now someone else is going to steal Eddie's idea for cannabis? I don't know. Stacy doesn't strike me as that type. And if there was a rumor, then maybe it was just she was approached, but she said no.
Could be. I mean, I don't know where Giselle got it from. She's clearly not a Stacy fan.
No, she's not at all.
Which I don't really know what happened, like, to get to that point where you're really arguing with her.
I don't know either. It doesn't seem like anything that bad happened.
Well, as they're talking about this, Wendy had mentioned that Karen told her to not be friends with the new girl and be careful because she's smart and educated. And then Giselle takes another dig at Stacy and says that she's not smart and educated.
I don't get it. Even Andy's like, you don't think she's educated?
Right. Like, what are you talking about?
Giselle clearly has some sort of grudge against Stacy, and we watched the whole season, and I don't know where it's coming from.
No, I mean, was it just the thing about their GNA event about showing up late? Like, is she still mad at that? She said she apologized to everybody about that.
Yeah.
Or the fashion show, the dog fashion show. She didn't like that she just decided to sign her up for it.
I don't think so. I don't know what her deal is.
I
have no idea.
Once we come back from commercial break, Jazzy comes out, and she says she's engaged. I'm like, okay.
This whole thing was hilarious to me. I could not stop laughing. Andy Cohen was shady AF.
I know. I wonder if he feels like he can be a little bit more shady with this group of women in particular, the Potomac women.
Shady?
Yeah, because they are, and maybe they can take it better.
Well, he was flying close to the sun with all this stuff.
Oh my God, I know. Andy was so funny. He asked a question to Jazzy, literally reading all about how she's a side chick and things like, do you think that you were one?
Yeah, you broke up the family.
Yeah. And she's like, no, I was never a side chick. She claims that she never knew that, they were still together, or if they were, that his pregnant girlfriend said they weren't together. It was really weird. It was a mix of stories, which I don't really understand how you don't have your story straight before you come to this.
No, did you not think he was going to ask you about this? Because he was interested.
Yeah.
And he was refuting things. Like, you got to have your facts straight, because he's like, no, the timeline placed you here, him here, her here, the baby here. Like, he had it all,
right,
locked down. So she really looked unprepared, and she looked like she was lying.
Right. And Mia was also unprepared when Andy decided to say to her, and, oh, Mia, you were a side chick.
Oh my God.
She caught off guard. Like, what are you coming after me for? I'm just sitting here.
She's catching strays.
Yes. Oh, God, it was so funny. Another thing that I thought was weird in this reunion was Andy starts talking to Giselle and Ashley about their G&A line. And they're like, oh, you don't have any clothes or apparel on this website.
Someone asked the question, where can I buy your clothes?
And they just decide to completely pivot with what they were doing. Mm-hmm. And they're like, no, we're not a fashion brand anymore. It's more about charity and like health and wellness. And they're like, it's not a money-making endeavor.
And Mia throws out, oh, so nonprofit. Nonprofit. Literally. This was weird.
I just don't know how we got here.
This is where the storyline stuff comes in for me that I hate. Stop giving us these fake storylines. These women had no intention of doing any clothing line.
Yeah.
Yet that whole season was about it. Mm-hmm. So stop feeding us this bullshit.
I know. It's like if they didn't want to. Also, Ashley's excuse seemed lame too. What are you really doing, Ashley?
I don't know.
What are you busy with?
Josh.
I guess. Another topic that I will bring up here too that caught my eye at the reunion was that I actually don't think was supposed to be brought up. I don't think this was going to be a topic of conversation, but it was Mia's birthday in Miami. Right? Jazzy and Stacy are pissed with Mia because they traveled all the way to Miami for her birthday and then just ghosted them.
Mia really backtracked on this. She was coming out hard in the beginning that she didn't know. Yep. She had no idea they were coming. She didn't know they were there. And then Stacy pulls out her phone with receipts and Andy reads them. Mm-hmm. And then we got Mia crying and apologizing.
Not even that. First she says, so what's the problem? That was the first thing she said. Then when she knew that it was getting bad, like, no, bitch, we're pissed at you. You're in the wrong here. Then she decided to go to that she feels bad now. And then she started crying. And Wendy, without like skipping a beat here, it calls out Mia and is like, this seems to be what you do. You get called out and you cry to try to get sympathy. And we're all over it.
I mean, how horrible. They go all the way to Miami to celebrate with you. And you don't even acknowledge them. Mm-hmm. And I think Andy pointed out one of those messages was on read.
Yeah.
Like she read it. She just didn't reply.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I mean, you were expecting them to come. You knew they were. And then when you don't see them, you're not like, hey, where are they? It's just so rude.
Very.
And such a waste of time to fly somewhere, especially for Stacy, who's got her daughter, too. Right. I mean, whether or not Mia thinks that she owes them an apology or not, she absolutely does, and she should give one to them because
she did.
The disrespect is crazy.
Yeah. She ends up apologizing in the dressing room. She goes back and sees Stacy and Jazzy back there.
Yeah, that's how the episode ends.
Oh, that's the ending?
Yep, that's how it
okay. Ends. Well, they didn't take it. Stacy literally said, I'm not ready. We are not ready to receive it. I don't think I've ever had that happen.
I know.
Like, I've never watched that where someone's like, you know why? Is because she didn't buy it. If it was a sincere apology, I think she would have taken it. But the fact that she didn't believe it, she's like, I'm not ready to hear it, so you can take it back. Mm-hmm. I thought, wow.
Well, and then Mia's trying to be like, I didn't have the capacity to be a good friend right now. Or like in that moment, I didn't have a good, and it's just like, what are you talking about? All you had to do was write her. You invited her.
And I seriously doubt she showed up an hour late. She also said it was an hour, and then someone else said no, it was starting at 8. She says she showed up at 9 and Stacy was already gone. But someone else said, I heard you got there at midnight.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I would have lost my shit if I did that. And you didn't show up until 4 hours later.
Right. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So I don't know that this issue will get any resolution. I doubt it. Then we get a sneak peek into next week's episode, and it starts off with that they think that Mia's divorce is a lie, and that Kiarna calls Mia out for exploiting her family for a storyline.
I mean, maybe they're saying it's a lie because she broke up with Ink, which they also think's a lie. They think it's pretend or something. But she is not in love with Gordon. She does not want to stay married to Gordon. So I mean, all of these women's divorces are taking forever. So, you really can't call her out on that, I don't think.
I know. Well, she walks off saying that she's leaving. I obviously don't think that she really leaves the reunion.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll
she
see.
might walk off and then come back on. But, I mean, I don't know. This is the problem with Mia, though, is that you never know what she's telling you is true or not. So then you're left with, well, everything I think you're saying is a lie.
Yeah.
So
we haven't seen Jacqueline yet either.
No, that's fine. Then the part that I am very interested in, which is they show Eddie talking to TJ on FaceTime, and Eddie texts Wendy and is like, hey babe, just got some news. Greg and I just FaceTimed with TJ and he dropped a bomb on us.
And then we hear Wendy gasp. All of the women turn and look at her, and I think Andy, and are like, what? What's going on? So, yeah, I can't wait for that part.
Thanks for listening to episode 37 of Nice-ish. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, or Threads at Nice-ish Podcast or at Love Cindy C. You can listen to Nice-ish wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Look for new episodes every Monday. Thank you for listening and have a nice-ish day.